Welcome on out to another episode of Cult Classics vs. Comedians. My name is Jamie Maxfield, and we are recording here at Quirky Engine Entertainment Studios here in Kaysville, Utah. And I am joined by these lovely comedians here for this episode. I've got Marcus.
Hey.
Kristal Starrr.
Hello.
And Steve Soelberg.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about... Hello there.
Hello.
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 Well, hello.
He has the right hat, so it fits. It fits. So we're going to be talking about a film today called They Live. Kristal, this was your film.
Yes.
This is on a lot of people's cult lists.
This is like
Take us through
cult,
this.
right? The top of the cult classics.
I think it's one of the definitions of a cult
yeah,
classic.
I think this is definitely... So the synopsis of this is we meet a lonely drifter. And actually I found this very interesting. He's nameless in the movie. He's listed in the credits as Nada. You have the street preacher. He's shouting about how corrupt the society's become. And he comes across these sunglasses. And when he puts them on, he notices, first of all, everything turns black and white. But then all of the billboards around him say, obey, consume. And there was one that even said, marry and reproduce.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he goes to the newsstand and he notices the guy there is like, looks like a skull face, alien type thing. Then you come to find out in the movie that this is subliminal messages being sent by some aliens to kind of conform and control the humanity. And Nada, our hero, decides that he is not only going to take down the aliens, he's going to recruit a bunch of people to help him. And you get some great scenes from this.
The fight scene.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Maybe one of the greatest scenes in movie history.
Yes, absolutely, and I
It is
love
a great
it.
fight scene.
Are you chuckling because you agree, or are you
I'm
chuckling
because
It's so.
when I watched it today, I watched it and was like, okay, well the fight scene's done.
You're like,
It didn't
No, it's like 9 minutes long. Like it never.
I'm not even halfway done.
No.
I mean,
It's
and
like
so many great
the commitment to
lines.
that.
it's going.
So many great lines from this movie.
Oh,
I mean,
the
if you
lines
haven't
are
seen
so-
the movie, you know the line.
I'm here to do two things:
That's
chew
chew
bubble gum
bubblegum
and kick ass.
Yeah.
And I'm all out of bubble gum.
yeah. If you haven't seen the movie, you know the line. And right before the fight scene, I love that line too. He's like, "You're either going to put these sunglasses on, or you're going to eat this trash can."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just
Oh, I
so
love that.
great. It's, people want to redo this or reboot this because there is a message that is it's lasted since the 80s.
Well, and I think it's even more prevalent and
Yes.
important now, right now, that we actually have kind of caught up with this technology, this Big Brother, the drones in the sky, watching
Yes.
the programming, all of the art. I mean, the magazines, flipping through it, and it's all just nonsense. And you go, that is where we are.
Well, I mean, you see this hero, he goes and he finds out that media, they're just brainwashing us through the satellite waves. So he meets a lady that works there, and she's kind of on board, but but she's
She looks, doesn't she look to you kind of like she's got one of those V faces on under her?
Yeah.
Like she's gonna have the V lizard
that's why you're
face.
kind of,
Exactly.
you want to trust her, but you're
The
not.
eyes. They did good casting on that.
I
Yes.
expected her to be like the queen bee or something.
Yeah,
weird.
exactly.
It was funny too, like when he meets her and they go to her apartment,
Yeah.
right? The interaction between her and the main character Nada, it seems like she's like almost like, this is gonna get kinky. She almost looks like, oh, I'll do whatever you say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's. She's like, it's almost, and then she goes and opens up some wine, and she's like, she's just been kidnapped by this guy, and then she's like drinking wine. She's like, well, let's.
When you got Roddy Piper,
Yeah.
It's her voice, something in her voice.
Yeah,
she's like
always is like this.
a little
Smoky.
bit smoky and sexy,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh.
but also that's the voice, the last voice you hear before the ice pick goes in.
Yeah,
But it's so funny how there's really not a cast to this. I mean, you have the Resistance people, but they're just there, and basically it's Piper, and then it's Keith David, or is it David Keith? It's Keith David.
Keith David.
Not David Keith. David
Yeah.
Keith's the other one. There's two
I
of
know.
those. Keith
Two
David.
persons.
And then there's the lady. And then everybody else is just kind of someone in the world.
in the
Yeah.
background. Yeah.
That's either part of it or has no idea. And it's just a fascinating thing because that's how this would be, you know. Well, I mean, in that world now everything would be viral. You know, I was talking about this, you know, earlier. It's like everything would just go, "Hey, aliens! Here's a video.
Aliens here.
Yeah, put this here. Watch. I'm gonna hold my phone up behind these glasses. Look, they're all over the place. Yeah, aliens everywhere. But back then, you would just go. I mean, if there was a dude just running around going, "Put these glasses on. There's aliens around."
I love that. That's the premise of all his fights, though.
Yeah.
They're like, "Put these glasses on." No. How much are you gonna fight for that? No, on not wearing stupid sunglasses.
And that's like people that, I mean, so many people
Another
have analyzed
sunglass
it.
salesman. No, I'm not doing it.
So many people have analyzed the film, but that's what they say is that resistance of people wanting to stay in their norm so much. That's what that represents, and that's why that fight scene is so long. Is because people don't want the change. They don't want to be.
You have to beat them over the head until they're practically
Gotta
dead.
make them eat trash cans.
I love how when they put the glasses on, turns everything into film school. Well, like it's just all black and white and symbolism. It's like, oh, it's film school.
You know, I think it's kind of interesting, and I don't know if this is what they meant by this, and maybe I'm just reading into this too much because I'm a stoner. But I think it's really fascinating that the world that he, even though, because it's shot in gritty, realistic, dirty Los Angeles. I mean, it looks like the movies of that era. He puts the glasses on, you're right, it looks different. It almost looks like a throwback to the 50s, which is when sci-fi took off. And it's to me, it's kind of like this way of thinking of like, if aliens came here in the 50s, like that whole space saucer era, wouldn't they have kind of just gone, fine, we'll stick with this? You know what I mean? Like just that's when the world changed. That's when they took over. That's when it was, and so that's kind of the throwback that it was that. Yeah. And speaking of design work, that's as iconic as anything. That design, I've seen that countless times on Donald Trump faces, with election stuff this year. It's almost as famous as the Che Guevara face at this point for revolutionaries.
I mean, they hear the lines, they see the artwork, and they're not even connecting it. So if you haven't seen the movie, then
it's a brilliant film, and it's as cheesy as it is. It's absolutely one of those movies that like is very deep underneath it. Like there's so much to that. The ideas of consume and tune out, go back to sleep.
Yes.
You know, and you look at that and you go, I can translate this, whether this is the conspiracy theorists saying, you know, lizard people are in charge of our government, or it's just a bunch of people who go, look, we, as this very small portion of powerful individuals, can get all of these people to do what we want them to, and we can do what we want to do in the name of them, as long as they're distracted, as long as they're looking down, as long as they're doing this and buying, and as long as they're in debt, and as long as that machine keeps working.
I mean, in that movie makes a great point of that, because all of the aliens are the media and the social elite, and all the homeless people and the wanderers are the ones that are
the cops, the people, and you look at that and you go, right. Well, where would this be? And if you swap it out as a metaphor for evil or greed or any of these things, it's really just a brilliant allegory, if you will, about how our society has kind of fallen down this hole of consume, buy, own, have, need, have. Yeah. Then that makes debt, which makes me work, and then I'm a worker ant who wants my stuff because I have to work to want my stuff, and it's a great. The whole idea of disconnecting, the whole idea of unplugging, the whole idea of turning the satellite off at the end of it, and then us going, well, if that satellite was turned off, if we really got to see the world in the broadest metaphorical sense, how important would all of this be? How important would all of our apps and all of the checking and all of the daily things that consume us really be if that was just turned off and we all just got to go back and go, oh, well, here's the day and here's the thing, and I don't have to constantly be distracted.
What I love to do is so it's got this really deep message. It's got a lot of, it's got a lot of meat behind it. And then you've got Nada on the other hand, who here's his plan.
Right.
He gets a couple guns. He goes in the bank and just starts shooting people. That's his this is how I'm taking down the aliens.
Only aliens.
But this is how I'm going to take them down. I'm going to go in with a shotgun, and I don't know. I think I got 6 rounds in this pistol. The first gun he grabbed, he goes right into a bank and starts shooting people. I was like,
Nada realizes that there's aliens.
Yeah.
I think almost from that point on, every line is a yell.
Yeah.
He doesn't deliver anything else like, oh, this is a nice day.
Like, hey,
It's
hold on,
like,
maybe I should stop.
"Ah!"
Like, oh my God, there's aliens.
He's just like, I'm losing my mind.
Put
By
your glasses
construction.
on.
Put them on, everybody.
Okay.
They had a really aggressive homeless program too, and the police came in and just like bulldozing and like.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa,
That bummed me
LA is cleaning up. They are cleaning up the streets of Los Angeles.
There was no news.
I also
it was just like,
Yeah.
their
here they
secret
go.
their
Get
secret
out of it.
organization. Like it's like just down an alley, and there's just dudes in like with machine
Yeah.
guns in LA. Like, I'm sorry, is this where the Joe's Crab Shack? No, it's not. Okay, it's down the other corner.
See, what did you?
I
Like the show
loved
with
it.
it.
I mean, I love the concept of it and everything. I would recommend it. I think, like we were saying, it is fairly iconic. The idea that maybe there's aliens living right among us and we don't know who they are,
Yeah.
and it's just a
We're
little
here.
skin. Also, I love the idea that that's why maybe you hate that one person.
Yeah. You can't put your
They might
finger
be an
on it.
alien.
He might be an alien.
And but yeah, so I definitely recommend it.
I like so many things about this, not just the kind of that undertone of stuff. Roddy Piper is great. So it's a recommendation for me for this, especially for all the one-liners in this are absolutely phenomenal. Go look them up. They've been referenced in like video games. I mean, really, like you mentioned before, it's got all the elements of what cult film is.
The video
and
game
influences.
They do eventually look like the characters from Contra when they're running around with their guns and stuff.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, there's some really like
Duke
funny
Nukem.
the close-ups of just the end of the machine gun shooting. Like
yeah.
Just like that X mark
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
they're shooting. That's
Yeah.
how
I
guns
really
look.
do like that end part where they get into the society and it's kind of like this Illuminati. And the guy's going, man.
Oh, yeah,
and
the old Southern
well,
guy.
He goes, well, heck, when these aliens take over, we're going to be having the best seats, you know.
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
fuck, right? Like that's
Yeah.
when the aliens come down. It's going to be George Bush up there going, hey man, I'm buying in. You know, like that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like these oil tycoon idiots. Oh man, I think I would totally recommend it. It's a top of the. I mean, if this is one of those movies to me, like if you haven't seen They Live, you're stupid. Watch it. Like honestly, I don't care if you like it. Watch it. It should be watched by everybody. But I think that it's perfect in the sense that it's got this brilliant message, this heavy message that really resonates. But it's in this package of mulleted, muscled goofiness that you kind of had to have that. Like if it was made overly serious, if you tried to do a dark reboot of They Live, it would be heavy-handed. It would be Mr. Robot. It would be doomy and gloomy.
Yeah.
It would be that. But if you just kind of have this element of, oh fuck, aliens, like that's why it works.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a perfect portrait of the time and a perfect example of where we were headed years before we knew that we were going to be here. And now it's almost scary.
Yep.
But
So.
brilliant. Watch They Live.
And obviously, Crystal, this is a highly recommended.
Highly
for you-
recommended.
for you.
It's something you have to watch.
Right.
You know, if we're going to be friends, if we're even going to talk, watch this movie. It is
a
so,
prerequisite.
yeah, it's prerequisite before we Netflix and chill. So, they do such a great job, and I think you kind of hit on it, Marcus, of bordering on genius and corny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, and they had to do that
Yeah.
because you got to send your message in a nice little package.
It's like
and
if
they did
Bugs
great.
Bunny had
Yeah.
a message. It would
Yeah.
be like, this is what this
Yeah,
movie
this
would be.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it'd be
And I
perfect.
mean, Roddy Piper was a great wrestler in his time, but this is what made him iconic, was this film, They Live.
Yeah.
This is probably more what he's remembered for than anything. To be
Absolutely.
honest, this movie.
Yeah.
So, brilliant.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Coke
got
Glasses vs. Comedians. Again, we want to thank our folks at Quirky Engine Entertainment Studios that are allowing us to record here today. Hey, how can everybody find you? Marcus, how about yourself?
Easiest way is just to go to marcusandguy.com. It's mainly for the music show I do with another comic, but you can also find there's links to my podcast, links to the show I host, links to comedy clips. Also, you can reach me from there. Just go to that or whatever.
Perfect. Steve, how about yourself?
Just use my name, Steve Soelberg. Go to stevesoelberg.com. It's Soelberg. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the above.
Why don't you just have a name that's easy to spell?
I did buy the Soulberg domain just to be safe. So in case you do type that in, you'll still
I think
go
that
to
your
my
Twitter
website.
should be at Soelberg Dead Ahead. Soelberg Dead Ahead! It's a Titanic joke. Go on.
I like it. An iceberg, Soulberg.
Soelberg Dead Ahead!
Soulberg, we're about to hit it and take the Titanic. to heaven?
You'd hit the Titanic and it would divert to a Tough Mudder course, and it would start going over hills and muddy things. Yeah, and then you would. Jack's sinking. He's dying now. Whatever it is you do for this
down
thing.
and dirty.
Yep, there you go.
And he's sinking.
Do you do it as a 1930s radio personality? Is that how you announce it?
When I announce.
Now there's our boys running from those krauts. They'll get them, boy. Our boys are marching across Germany. That Kaiser's got it coming to them. Hey, ladies, join the war effort. We need your tiny hands to make bullets.
We need your tiny hands. That's exactly how announcing has to be.
Yeah, okay.
It's either that or coming around the backside of the track looking very strong.
I always divert between that voice and the strip club DJ. Just the, all right, we got Kristal coming up next. That's great. Coming up next, Steve Soelberg doing a wet set. Coming on, his beer's $2 and Bud Light Long Necks only $3. What? Chicken wings. Don't touch anything.
Especially your chicken wings.
Yeah, don't touch. Hell, can you imagine eating at a strip club? I'm sorry.
Sticky floor.
We were telling everybody where to find you after the show.
We were just we stalled over here on Kristal.
Oh, good Lord.
On to Kristal.
On to Kristal.
All right, Kristal, spell your hard to spell name too.
Hard to spell name. You can find me at hellosweetiepodcast.com or Kristal, Kristal, Starrr, Starrr.
Awesome. And then, of course, I'm Jamie Maxfield. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook.
Johnny Knoxville's here.
Hello,
ma'am. All right.
And you can also follow our podcast, Channel 801 podcast, Where's the Punch podcast. Don't forget to follow Cult Classics vs. Comedians on Facebook. And look for Channel 801. We'll be coming up. We'll have some new episodes of Channel 801, which is a local film showcase we do monthly. Ben Fuller and I do once a month on that. That'll be coming up again. So, guys, it's been fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed all these episodes.
It's been good.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.